Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of the TEDxThirdWard podcast. I'm your host and TEDx organizer, Darrell Douglas, and we're joined today with the one and only Dr. Amber Gunner. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So before we get into your talk and all of that, I have to tell folks, we planned TEDxThirdWard. We planned to do a dress rehearsal and this and that. I must say, you're one of the speakers that showed up with what they call entourage. And I think it says a lot. I think it raised the bar for like the way that we're thinking about this year and like actually preparing for that. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey of becoming this version of Dr. Amber Gunner?
Yes. Well, I will say I just had a conversation with my mom about my entourage because she is part of that entourage. And it stems from the very thing that I talked about, which is asking for the support that you need and aligning it with people's strengths. And so the two people that are usually with me, those are their strengths, as we were preparing. And it's like, is my hair good? It's like, my mommy needs to be here,
Because she would fix it
without question. She would make sure that I am showing up in my best.
Absolutely.
And I think that is a testament to the work of, as a high achiever, being able to step out of that and say that I can actually do more and go further with community, with support, with my people. And so, as you know in the talk, that's a little bit of what I'm navigating here is how do I begin asking for help and recognizing that I don't have to carry it all. And spoiler alert, one of those things is being able to match what my needs are with the people around me, their strengths.
That is awesome. So a lot of folks that are watching this are probably going to be folks that either want to volunteer or more than likely be a TEDx speaker, either for TEDxThirdWard or elsewhere. So walk us back to the moment where you decided that this was something that you wanted to do, either TEDx in general or specifically TEDxThirdWard.
Oh, man. So I have been a TED fan probably since about 2013.
Okay.
Simon Sinek was one of the first TEDs that I ever watched in grad school. And I thought that it was just so amazing how he brought in a story, but he also brought in tools and things to be able to help people learn. So that was kind of my first awareness of TED in general. And then when I stepped into this space of really working with employees, working with moms, working with leaders in corporations, it was like, what's one of those things that would really help me to kind of stand out in this journey? And it was to be able to become a TEDx speaker.
Right.
And ironically, or maybe not so, at the end of last year, I sat down with my mentor and we were just having lunch, just getting to know each other. She'd had an intent to be able to help more women speak because she's a speaker as well. And so we sat down for lunch and I told her, I said, I saw this like TEDxThirdWard thing and I'm from Third Ward and I think that I want to apply. And we sat down for 2 hours at that lunch.
Wow.
And she helped me in workshopping what it was that I wanted to speak about.
That is amazing. And I know that's on a lot of folks' minds, top of mind for people that want to do a TEDx. How did you come about? And you don't have to give all the steps, but once you reach the end, how did you know this is it?
Well, plug to MM Washington, part of being accepted into TEDxThirdWard was to receive that coaching. And it was in large part to the work that she did with us on an individual level. Because I know when I submitted my submission videos, it was like, well, I'm from Third Ward, so I want to pull that in. And just there were so many topics and ideas. And I don't even know that was necessarily conveyed at the actual talk. But she had a way of really helping us in narrowing it down. And so once she said like, okay, this is what you need to focus on, tie your story into this, I was like, okay, this is it. This is it.
Yeah.
So it was really a collaborative, right? Going back to asking and receiving support, it was a collaborative effort in her being able to help me hone in to what I was really trying to say and the message that I really wanted to leave people with.
Absolutely. So walk us back to the day. So it is think it was March 1st. It's a Saturday. Now, keep in mind, and I tell people this too, this was also my first time organizing a TEDx.
Yeah.
And I just felt like the closer we got to it, everything, in my opinion, in my heart, in my mind, was slowly spiraling. Because, you know, when we first started organizing this, it was like, oh, this is going to go well and that's going to go well. And it was only that night before, remember that? The night before the dress rehearsal, and then that day. So walk us through that for you.
I got to tell you, you know, we had a quick turnaround, and I remember being like 3/4 through my talk, and my mom, you know, she's my go-to, and I sit here and I go through that talk with her, and she's like, yeah, it's okay. And I was like, Mom, I'm doing this in a week. What do you mean it's okay? Like, you know, the panic sets in. And she's like, you know, I just was expecting more from you. Like, I know you as a person, and I know how passionate you are about this. And she was like, it's so very scripted. It's like you're trying to be a doctor, and I want you to just be relatable.
Yourself,
Yes.
Wow.
And I was like so crushed in the moment. And then I'm like, well, how do I fix it? So the line about Michael Jordan, that came by way of having conversation with my mom. So to answer your question, about a week before, I was frantic because what I thought was like really good and good to go, she was like, it's missing you. Like, it's missing you.
Wow.
And so that stuck with me. I reworked it. I was open to her feedback around that. And literally like the night or the day before, I started getting just so nervous about it. And one of the things that helped me was I had to remind myself that, Amber, you are giving this talk not for you, but to be able to share this message with somebody that needs to hear it.
Yeah. Oh, that is so good. That is so good. And I tell folks, and I was just telling you that I've referred back to your talk a lot because it really reframed not only like understanding where folks come from, but also to like look within and allow people to fill in those roles. It helps, you know, a rising tide rises all ships, or however that goes. But so take us back to the actual morning. What are you feeling that morning?
Oh, still just nerves. You know, I was getting my makeup done, and then it was like the timing of everything and wanting to make sure that I arrived where I needed to be. You know, I didn't want to eat breakfast, but I need to have coffee and I need to kind of have these other things. And I think having gone through the dress rehearsal really helped to calm me because I was in the space already. I delivered the talk, and I was like, okay, any version of what I do right here and now will be good to go.
Wow.
You know? Wow. So, and then of course, having my entourage there, my babies were there, and, you know, they got to sit and watch through the dress rehearsal. So they got to see me do my actual talk, which is in part of why I'm doing this is for them. So I think what started out as nerves and aiming for some sort of perfection really morphed into enjoying the moment and the experience.
That is awesome. And so you get out there, you do your talk. What did it feel like? Do you remember? Who were you looking at? What were you doing while you delivered?
So that was actually the best part. I could not see a single person. I could not see anybody.
Which is light.
I knew there were people there. And, you know, I've had a career in coaching and training and professional development for the last 10 years. And so I'm used to talking to people. And oftentimes what can trip me up is like their facial expressions or not having a reaction to something I thought was pretty funny, you know? So when we did the dress rehearsal and I realized I couldn't see anybody, I was like, oh, this is fantastic. Because it's like, I'm going to just be sitting in there talking to myself, you know? So.
Wow. So you give your talk. And I said that this time we're going to have a camera waiting as people get off, because that was one of the most beautiful moments. Everyone walked off stage as if they had just run a marathon. It was just this, you know. How's it been since then?
It's been busy. It's been busy.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, landing a TEDx is an accomplishment in and of itself. And I just remained and stayed open to what all that would bring me from there. You know, of course, I've spent the first month watching my views, sharing it out, and like, people are not watching, you know what I mean? Yeah. And once I moved myself away from that, I really saw the opportunity that came in by way of other people wanting to do lunch because they're interested in doing a TED Talk, you know, and then that turning into a business deal. Like, you know what I mean? So it's been able to, one, give the credibility. Two, it's been able to get the message out there. I can't tell you how many people have said that your talk resonates so much with me, and it's given me some steps to start asking for help. Absolutely. So it's like, ultimately, that was the goal in and of itself, was for this talk to be able to help somebody else in their journey. Absolutely. You know, to that point about the views, Gina Carroll was adamant about what she wanted her title to be and the description that she paid off. Because she had run it through the SEO optimization. She already knew. Other than yours, who was your favorite TEDx from your cohort? That is really hard because and that was the feedback that people that were in the audience, they were like, all of them were good. Like my mom is telling people to watch every single one because they're all really good. Gina's was really, really good in the way that she took us through the story, but then also really helping us to believe that we all have a story inside of us, you know. Obviously, I really related to Jatina's work as well, in just having that chapter in my life where it was like rest was really forced upon me, you know, so long that you just kind of had to lean into it and really accept the gift that it was. Absolutely. So I would say those are two that definitely stick out for me within that cohort. Absolutely. Yeah. And before we get to your closing, any questions for me as a speaker to organize? Anything that you wondered about within the process? It's not anything that I wondered about, but one thing I will say is that, and you can kind of glean this from the entourage and everything else, I have a certain standard of excellence. And because I'm from Third Ward, I wanted it to also have a certain standard of excellence to really showcase not only us, but the products that come from Third Ward. And I think you all did an amazing job in making sure that that was met. Thank you. Thank you. So no questions, but kudos for sure in making sure that there was a standard and that standard was met. Absolutely. You know, it was close. We almost didn't have a sign. You know, and I just remember running it over with people. They're like, "Oh, we could just have a banner." We will not have a banner. We will. If people are if we really want to pour into this, then it needs to meet these standards. And I'm glad to think that you thought that happened. Any closing words? I just continue telling people to go for it. Yes. And really to think about, I do believe we all have a story inside of us. And also, how is this truly going to benefit other people who are watching this? It's one thing to want to tell your story of how you've overcome, but really and truly, what is the takeaway? You know, you have told me that it's like, hey, I've really got to make sure I'm matching what my request for help is to the person and their strengths. Absolutely. And not taking it personal if they say no, because that may not be their strength. You know, and so at the end of it, if I decide to go for being a TED speaker, one, what is the clear thing that people can take away and it's going to benefit or change their lives? And then two, how can I show up in service in everything that I do around this journey? Because it will bless you. It will help you in ways that you didn't even think about. Yes. But I think service is first. Awesome. Yeah. Well, this has been Dr. Amber Gunner, and she's going to be part of the group discussion later. If you're interested in volunteering or being a TEDx speaker yourself, visit TEDxThirdWard.com.